Welcome everyone to my Endgame series, and today I'm gonna cover that king and a rook when you have an opponent has a single king, how you will checkmate. So the step number one, what you have to do, that is select the last line, which means it's not gives you the exactly the opponent's king will go over there, but somewhere it gives you the idea and gives you the target that area you have to push your opponent's king. Step number two is control the upper line. Now, the steps which I am telling to you, these are already mentioned in the description. What I will suggest to you, just copy it out, or you can take the screenshot, or you can take the picture. And in the initial stage, I will tell that keep these things next to you and practice it out. Maybe with your friends, or maybe on a online also on a chess.com or a chess, you can practice it out, these things. At least 10 to 15 position randomly. What you have to do randomly, you just keep the king and rook and opponent's king, and you have to checkmate randomly. But one thing I will just say, keep the opponent's king towards the center. That is little bit of a more difficult. Okay, now let's come to the point. Select the last line. Last line I already told to you in the previous video, and those who did not watch, I'm just telling to you, simple. Last line means what? That from there the opponent's pieces cannot go beyond, not even yours also cannot go beyond from there, right? So for example, over here I decided that I will push my opponent's king maybe on the 8th rank, because of course we have the limited resources, that is a single rook and a king. So we cannot checkmate when the king is in the center, so we have to push the king on the last line, and then we can deliver the checkmate. For step number two, as I told you, control the upper line. Now the upper line, I said, I did not set a rank or a file, which means you can control file wise. If you want to control, you can do it. You can do it rank wise, you can do it. Now over here, this is a position, for example, excuse me, sorry for that. For example, in this position, I wanted to go for the rank wise. So what I will play, I can play my rook on a g5 and control the line so that the opponent's king cannot go up. Another, for example, I wanted to push my opponent's king on this file, that is a file. I wanted to push, vertically. So what I can do, I can play my rook on a d3 so that the king cannot go beyond from that. So this is a point. It's up to you. Like you wanted to do rank wise, you wanted to do file wise, it's up to you. So over here, I will go for the rank wise, okay, like this one. So what I will do, control the upper line. So my opponent's king is on a 6th rank. So what I will do, I will just control the upper line, which means the 5th rank. So now what will happen, the opponent's king cannot go up. Then my opponent will play. And now the step number 3, you just have to push your king towards your opponent king. I will just push the king to b2, king moves, and over here, after the move king to f6, our rook is under attack. What you have to do, you just maintain the rank or maintain the file and just move away from the opponent's king. That's it. King moves. And when you're moving the king towards the opponent's king, just always remember one thing, you will not come with an opposition. Opposition means what? It's like this one. Example, the king moves here. So it's just a face off, like face to face. You will not play it. Okay. Let your opponent do it. Okay. Why? Because whenever your opponent comes on a face to face, step number 4, what it is? You will give check. And the point of this one, that now the king cannot go up. The credit goes to a king who is controlling all of the 3 squares to pose up. So the king will go back. Now, once again, over here, you will not play the move king to c5 because you are taking the opposition. You are standing face to face. Never ever keep your king face to face. Okay, just play like this one. So if your opponent king goes on a d7, again the rook will come on a a7 and check. And if he goes to b7 and attack on your rook, just move the rook away, but maintain the line. And now, for example, king to c7, as I told you, never ever goes to the face to face with your king. So over here, what you can do, just spend one move. Okay, now king moves. and I will push the king. Now king moves, I will move my king. And here, after the move king b7, my opponent comes face to face. Okay. So next step is simple. Whenever the king comes face to face, just give the check. Now king has to move on the last line. And once again, I will not go to the c6 because my king is coming face to face. I will not do that. What I will do, I will just play king to b6. So if the king goes to b8, then simple rook to g8. This is a checkmate. And if he will go here, and generally you can remember it's like a crisscross. So you can just bring the king in, king to f8. Now don't move the king, then you will lose the rook and it's a draw. Okay, just move your rook away, but maintain the line. And for example, king moves back. So once again, I will not play my king on a e6 to face off my king. I will just move my rook, that's it. Then move here, then move back. King move to g8, king move to f6, king move to h8, king moves to g8, g6, and after the move, opponent's king on a g8, and this is checkmate. These are the steps which you have to follow. Step number 1, let's recap. Step number 1, select the last line. Step number 2, control the upper line. Step number 3, just bring your kings in, and remember the important point that you will not move your king face to face. Okay, and the final point is what? Whenever the opponent's kings comes face to face, you will just give the check with your rook. So now just if you have a friend, just randomly keep the king, rook and opponent's king and practice it out with the steps of. Thank you so much for watching.